My dear friends, this Holy Week will be like no other that we have experienced. It is as though we are living through a long Good Friday. We do not know how much longer it will be so. In this new landscape which we now inhabit, the supports and regular patterns that we have relied upon fall away. There are no public church services for us to attend. There are no Bible reflection groups, no soup lunches, no prayer meetings, no visits, no parish social events of any sort. Hardest of all is the Eucharistic fast, and even the opportunity to be able to go to one of our churches, to sit inside, to pray and reflect quietly. We have all been thrown inward into our own homes and household, inward to our very selves. Yet these past 2 weeks are already showing some signs of fresh fruits for each of us as Catholics. Brother priests have told me that the daily rhythm of having to say Mass on their own has meant that they have been praying with and for not just the community right in front of them, but for the whole church spread across the globe. People online too are sharing the fact that they feel a deeper connection with their unseen brothers and sisters. In a very good way, the experience of modern media has made us all more conscious of that deep Catholic communion that we share across the world, and even of that unseen communion of saints who join us at every Mass. Families too are praying more than they have done in the past. They do so amidst the stresses and strains of being cooped up together for much longer than they used to. But this brings with it deeper reservoirs of patience and forgiveness, of a tenderness towards one another. Many of you I know are following the Masses and services online, much more than we anticipated. Some do so whilst singing their favourite hymns, playing instruments at home, or joining in reflective songs, or even with choral singing on iPad, iPhone and laptop. So many of us were captivated by that holy hour which Pope Francis led last week, and where he blessed an empty St. Peter's Square with our Eucharistic Lord. He was, of course, calling down the Lord's blessing upon the city of Rome and the entire world, Urbi et Orbi. In his words on that evening, he reminded us of the real heroes of this present time. It is the life in the Spirit that can redeem, value and demonstrate how often lives are woven together and sustained by ordinary people, often forgotten people, who do not appear in newspaper and magazine headlines, nor on the grand catwalks of the latest show, but who without any doubt are in these very days writing the decisive events of our time. Doctors, nurses, supermarket employees, cleaners, caregivers, providers of transport, law and order forces, volunteers, priests, religious men and women, and so very many others who have understood that no one reaches salvation by themselves. In the face of so much suffering, when the authentic development of our peoples is assessed, we experience the priestly prayer of Jesus, that they may all be one. How many people every day are exercising patience and offering hope, taking care not to sow panic, but a shared responsibility. With our Holy Father, I believe that what we are witnessing in these days is a sign of a renewed humanity. In nature too, these past weeks have seen definite signs of spring. There's been the deeper red or brighter evening skies, the sound of so many birds and the budding forth of different varieties of flower and foliage. Although it's very true that this time so often feels like a long Good Friday, in God's good purposes, it already contains the hope of brighter and better days to come. And who knows what gifts God will have bestowed upon us in the meantime. I think this is why words from a popular song originally written by Amanda McBroom and sung by various artists stirs in my mind. The song is called The Rose, and the last stanza goes like this. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. I always like to think that the seed is our deepest self, buried deep down within us, now being loved, not just by the sun in the sky, but by the Son, Jesus Christ. So as we live through this long Good Friday, let us try to remember in the winter, far beneath, lies the seed that with his love in the spring becomes the rose. Our sharing in the Son of God's dying in this long Good Friday is a real participation in his redemptive love, his act of offering himself wholly for all. It will bring forth fruits unknown now for us, for our church, and especially for our world. In this is our deepest hope. God bless you. Please pray for me.